Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 40 of the TCW series. Now, tonight's show is, of course, the go home show for Hotter Than Hell. Looking forward to the pay per view overall, but I'm also just a little bit worried about a couple of injuries that we also have. Obviously, the pay per view is at the end of the week, and at the moment, we have Brian Vesey, who's injured, and of course, his match will be against Sammy Back. And then we also have Eddie Peak, who is currently working through an injury as well, who is 1/3 of our main event. Now, I have actually given myself an out in regards to Eddie Peak on tonight's show to basically pull him from the main event. If he's fit in time for the pay per view, obviously it'll go ahead. But if he's still carrying the injury, I think we might pull him from it. But you'll obviously see exactly what goes down here tonight. Let's run the show. Starting off with, we've got 3 pre-show matches, the first of which getting a 72 B-. In a pre-show bout, they had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. Alicia Strong defeated Tamara McFly in 9:44 by pinfall with an angel driver. In-ring performance of 80 for Alicia Strong. And then we also have Tamara McFly improving in performance skills there as well. We then move into a 73 B-. In a decent pre-show match, Divine Fortune defeated the Elite in 9:53 when Chance Fortune defeated Nate Johnson by pinfall with a stroke of luck. And then Daryl Divine was head and shoulders above everybody else. And of course, Chance is basically re-debuting into the company, and he's debuted a fan favorite gimmick, and it got above average. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty happy with that. He's also improving in performance skills there. We then go into an 81B for our final pre-show match. In a pre-show bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Aaron Andrews, Greg Gage, and Mark Speed defeated Bart Biggins, Ernest Youngman, and Xavi Ferreira in 10:27 when Mark Speed defeated Xavi Ferreira by submission with a cross arm breaker. And then, as you'd expect, Aaron Andrews head and shoulders above everybody else with a 95 in-ring performance there. We also have Mark Speed improving in technical skills. Alright, so we start the show off with an 86 B+. We have RDJ, and he says Mark Speed has no idea what he's in for at Hotter Than Hell. RDJ's not done yet. Obviously, continuing on from their sort of storyline, we're also going to pre-book in their match at Hotter Than Hell. It's going to be a one-on-one match. Ricky Dale Johnson taking on Mr. Mark Speed. I think that could be a really good match, even though RDJ is heavily in time decline. We also have Mark Speed, whose gimmick is getting stale, so we might change that for the next show as well. And then go into a 68C+, in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling. Ricky Dale Johnson defeated Rudy Velasquez in 9:55 by pinfall with a Southern Justice. Moving on to an 89A. Ricky Dale Johnson is celebrating his victory in the ring. Mark Speed runs in and attacks, beating RDJ down into the mat. That's rated on overness as well of both of these guys. So the fact they got an A, I think it's a definite positive going forward. We then go into a 71C+ rated triple threat match, women's triple threat match. In a bout that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat, Laura Flame defeated Amber Allen and Simony Sentinel in 10:14 when Laura Flame defeated Simony Sentinel by pinfall with a Flame Fire kick. Our new number 1 contender is going to be Laura Flame going into the pay-per-view. It kind of makes sense, Laura Flame. The pay-per-view is called Hotter Than Hell. Flame, hot, it makes sense. But yeah, a few worker improvements here. Laura Flame improving in performance skills. And then we have Amber Allen improving in both flying and performance. So yeah, we'll get that booked in as well. Hotter Than Hell, again, just another one-on-one match. Alicia Strong will be taking on Laura Flame. There we go for the women's title. All right, moving on to a 96 A-star rated angle. Reign of Terror talk about taking out New Legacy before the pay-per-view on Sunday so Peak can win the World Heavyweight Championship. Basically, Peak's, he's talking backstage with his Reign of Terror grunts in Killer Shark and Bulldozer Brandon Smith. And he says that, they're going to be in a match against New Legacy for the tag team titles. And he basically wants them to take them out and make sure that they don't actually get involved in the main event. Obviously, he wants them to win the tag team titles as well. But obviously, the World Heavyweight Championship is what carries the most weight in the company. So obviously, the Reign of Terror will be achieved if Eddie Peak does win the World Heavyweight title. Moving on to a 75B-. In a decent match, Bulldozer Brandon Smith defeated Flying Jimmy Fox in 9:38 by pinfall with a backdrop driver. During the match, we also had Ed Stone distract Fox. So yeah, again, sort of continuing the Canadian Animals versus the Rockers feud that we've got going on at the moment as well. In a pretty decent match, actually. We then go into a 74B- angle. The Canadian Animals want a rematch against the Rockers at Hotter Than Hell. Of course, last week, the Rockers did actually defeat the Canadian Animals. So we'll get that booked in as well. I think we've got quite a few really good sort of storylines going on at the moment. And obviously the Rockers, probably the most hot tag team at the moment, apart from New Legacy, I would say. So yeah, full credit to them. Moving on to a 77B rated tag team match. In a bout that had superb wrestling and good heat, the New Wave defeated the Canadian Animals in 9:47 when Guy defeated Freddie Huggins by a pinfall with a wave of mutilation. During the match, we also had Matt Hocking distract Huggins. Yeah, essentially getting one back on Ed Stone interfering in Flying Jimmy Fox's match. Scout was apparently off his game, but yeah, Scout and Guide performing very well. But then we also have Ed Stone and Freddie Huggins getting in-ring performances of 77, which I think is really quite impressive. I mean, it's the same as the match rating, which is good to see. We've also got the New Wave, again, improving in performance skills, both of them. Just absolutely crazy. All right, moving on to a 100 A-star promo from Sammy Back. And he talks about the current state of TCW. Goes off on a bit of a tangent about the fact that the stables are dominating the wrestling scene at the moment. And, guys such as himself, Joshua Taylor, even Mighty Mo to an extent, they're all sort of being overlooked for these two main stables. Then he also goes into talk about the New Wave possibly starting their own stable. And, again, that could possibly take away from his own chances of becoming number one contender in the future. So, yeah, he's pretty upset. He's not happy. He doesn't allude to the fact that he might be thinking about starting his own stable, but there is possibility in the fans' minds that could be a possibility in the future. Anyway, really, really good promo from him. 100 A-star. We then go into his match, which gets an 82B. In about that had fantastic heat and good wrestling, Sammy Back defeated Killer Shark in 9:42 by submission with a back on your back. During the match, we also saw Aaron Andrews run in and attack Shark, and Greg Gage also attack Shark. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good match there. And of course, Sammy Back getting a win over a stable member in Killer Shark of Reign of Terror. Alright, we then go into a 99 A-star rated angle. We have the Stronghold, and they believe it's their fate to win everything at Hotter Than Hell. So, of course, New Legacy, they believe they're going to retain their title. And then, of course, Aaron Andrews believes he's going to be able to beat Wolf Hawkins, the Lone Wolf, in the triple threat match and become World Heavyweight Champion once again. We then go into the main event, which, does okay. Probably not good enough, realistically. A 78B. And about that had superb wrestling and great heat. Jay Cord defeated Mighty Mo in 20 minutes 19 seconds by pinfall with a cradle pile driver, following interference from Greg Gage. Once again, there's been a lot of interference in this go home show, but I feel like most of it was necessary, in building towards the pay-per-view. It's just a little bit unfortunate, the fact that most of the matches weren't clean finishes. Anyway, Jay Cord getting better at his gimmick. The match suffered because there was not enough selling shown, and then Aaron Andrews was on commentary, and he did a pretty weak job. So, realistically, I think the match... obviously the match could have done better because Jay Cord got an in-ring performance of 88, and Mighty Mo got an in-ring performance of 81. And this main event, again, long-term rivals, Mighty Mo and Jay Cord. Of course, when we started the series, they were actually feuding together. It's sort of come full circle. Jay Cord's now a main eventer. Mighty Mo is now an upper mid-carder. So, yeah, they're both doing really well. Just too bad the main event rating wasn't a little bit better. But yeah, we also have Mighty Mo improving in both technical and performance skills there as well, which is a big positive. All right, one more angle, a 99A star. Aaron Andrews and Eddie Peake are in the ring arguing. Andrews finally has enough and attacks him, eventually driving him through a table to make a point. The segment ends with Andrews standing above the fallen Peake. So yeah, there we go. Basically, will Eddie Peake make it to the pay-per-view? Will he be cleared to wrestle despite this? So basically, Aaron Andrews... they're arguing in the ring together, obviously. The Stronghold arguing with Reign of Terror. And then, of course, Aaron Andrews puts Eddie Peake through the announcer's table on the outside. And it looks like Eddie Peake has suffered a pretty serious injury. Let's end the show. Overall show rating getting a 77B, so pretty respectable again. I think it's down 1 point from last episode. Again, increasing popularity in these 7 regions of Canada. I think that was a really good show, apart from the fact that most of the matches had some sort of interference or distraction involved. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, we've got Panda Mask here. Could be a pretty interesting signing. He's not very over in the US. I might have a look at that off camera. Yeah, the TV show got a rating of 7.41, which I think is pretty good. Again, it's still very, very similar to how it's been recently. One other thing that we need to talk about, Des Davids. We got him. We got our man. He cannot wrestle for us yet. He's still with SWF for a few more days. Yeah, so he's got another 14 days left on his contract. We have signed him for 10 years. So he will be essentially 42 by the time his contract is up. So we're going to have him for the best years of his career. And like I said, I think he could be one of our top 2 faces, possibly 3 faces, depending on how Mighty Mo develops. But I would say that at the moment, Semi Back is probably our top face in the company. And then it's pretty hard to determine who's actually the top heel. I mean, we've got Wolf Hawkins, Aaron Andrews, and Eddie Peak, all heels, and they're all in the main event, and they're all pretty incredible. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting. Still don't actually know what I'm going to do. I haven't exactly planned how the main event's going to finish. But again, I still need to wait and see if Eddie Peak is actually going to be fit for his match or for the triple threat at the pay-per-view. So yeah. Anyways, that's going to end this episode, guys. If you could and you enjoyed the episode, please do drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and as always, take it easy and goodbye.